Howdy out there, everyone. Today we're going to be looking at this interesting misfire known as Robocop 3, a 1993 release starring Robert Burke as the titular character and featuring, it's directed by Fred Decker and is based on a screenplay written by Frank Miller. And it's really quite sad that the end result was as bad as it was, because I think there's even Phil Tippett was behind some of the effect work. There were a lot of talented people behind this production, but it just didn't work. And I think largely it's because they tried to make a family-friendly Robocop movie, and that's not what Robocop is. PG-13, if there's one thing that we've learned, is that a PG-13 Robocop just simply won't work, and it won't sell tickets. The remake was also PG-13, and all things being equal, I'd rather watch this one than that god-awful remake, despite the fact that the remake had Michael Keaton. Now, this is a Screen Factory Collector's Edition. Nice slipcase here. And here is the BluRay case with the original artwork. And then there's the disc. And it looks great. It's a good-looking film. And the cast, I mean, you've got Rip Torn in there. You've got a young Bradley Whitford. You've got just some really interesting character actors who went on to do other things. It's just sad that it didn't work. I mean, I remember when this came out, I refused to see it on general principle because I thought that the PG-13 and the fact that they didn't get Peter Weller, who ended up choosing to film Naked Lunch instead of this, which was a good choice. People still talk about Naked Lunch in a positive fashion. Robocop 3 is usually always the subject of derision. But even still, I mean, it's just sad that it didn't... There's a good movie in here, actually. I sat and watched it last night for the first time, and what struck me was that there are some decent things in this film. The effect work is pretty hinky, and a really interesting time capsule of what early bad CGI looked like. There's just some stuff in here that is just really bad, but the Robocop suit is fine, and like I said, I think that there are some elements of the plot that are pretty cool. I think that there's a narrative in there that is, there's a good story in there somewhere. They just didn't put it on screen, and it was clear that the screenplay was tweaked to accommodate a more family-friendly Robocop, which was a huge mistake. And of course, it didn't need the flying Robocop. Although when I watched it, I couldn't help but think that Iron Man, the producers behind Iron Man looked at this and thought, we can do better than that, because that's what the flying Robocop reminded me of, as sort of a prototype Iron Man run. So in any case, the supplemental features on this Shout Screen Factory disc are great, including audio commentary with the director. There's a bunch of new interviews, including one about basically Delta City, the making of Robocop 3. It has RoboVision, the FX of Robocop 3, featuring Peter Curran, Phil Tippett, and more. And again, the universal sort of theme throughout all of these supplemental interviews is that everyone involved acknowledges the movie isn't good, and they wanted to make a better film, but were simply hamstrung. And it's unfortunate. But despite all of that, like I said, I'd still rather watch this than the remake. And I do think that there's enough in here to warrant at least a watch. But just obviously keep your expectations in check. It's not a good movie, but I think for those of you who like the original Robocop and Robocop 2, I think it's an interesting failed experiment, and one that has a few nuggets that show that it's still part of the lore, even though it was clearly a substandard entry. So with that, I would just say, please stay safe out there, be kind, and keep watching cinema. Take care.